Yeah, thanks Asha for for starting the recording. So we will be proceeding ahead with today's session. Yeah. So guys, today's session basically we are going to focus on the downstream approval workflow configuration over here. Basically, we are going to see some simple things, but along with that, we are also going to see one unique feature which we have not seen before in our upstream workflow, and that particular feature is nothing but the dynamic approval. So first of all, guys, if you want to configure approval workflow in downstream part, pay very close attention, guys. You have to click on manage. Okay, click on approval processes. Now once you click on manage and approval processes, in this particular screen you will come over here, guys. Okay, so once you come over here, what you will do is like basically you will see that a lot of approval workflows over here. So basically you have to remember a few things, that there are different transactional documents in downstream: PR, PO, invoice, okay, receiving, that means GR. These kinds of transactional documents are present within your downstream. So each of these transactional document, excuse me, guys, will have workflow. Now, how many workflows? There is no limitation. You can create 100 numbers of workflow for purchase requisition, but at a single time, always remember, only one approval workflow will be active. That means you are having 100 approval workflow for purchase equation, no issues. But only one approval workflow can be active at a time, because the active approval workflow over here will always get triggered. And remember, this template approval template configuration which you're going to do, this is a global kind of template. Okay, global kind of template means basically, guys, that uh, it does not matter whether the PR which you are creating, or the PR which I am creating, or let's say the PR which Eraj is creating, or let's say the PR which Harsha is creating. It does not matter. The active workflow will always get triggered over here. So remember, there's a global approval over there. So whatever configuration and all those things you are doing, this will affect every user in downstream. Now, how you can see what are the different things? You click on approvable type. Within the approvable type, you will see different transactional document. So select requisition, click on search, and you will find these are the different what approval workflow which has been created, guys. Okay, nothing else. Now, apart from this particular thing, you have to understand a few other things. The other things over here is, please don't copy over here. See, you are seeing this copy option. Please don't copy any approval workflow, okay, and create your own approval workflow over here. Because if you use that particular thing, whatever customization which was present in your uh, old approval workflow, that particular thing will automatically get copied. So what you have to do over here, you have to click on create new. Once you click on create new, you can give the name whatever you want over there. My suggestion to all of you, please don't use your name initials place. You can just say rake approval scenario, or rake approval process, or PR approval process, like this. In the approval type, select requisition, and then you click on what, next. Okay, And the first thing which you're going to do is like in the collaboration mode, you will click on normal, because in every project, wherever you will go, you will always use normal PRs, not anything else. Okay. Now we are talking about different approval workflow, correct? So when you will go to your project, you will see mostly the approval workflow which is coming over there will be price based, correct? Some of them will be commodity code based, some of them will be company code based. Okay, these are the basic things. Why? Excuse me. Because in downstream, every level, whether it will get triggered or not, will depend upon some condition. It can be price, it can be company code, it can be purchasing organization, purchasing group, anything which can be given by the client. Second thing, you will be extensively using custom group over here. Custom group means basically custom roles, guys. Why is that so? Why is that so? Because of a simple thing. And that particular simple thing is like, you will see that your approver, or basically your client, they will be coming to you saying that Manoj, let's say you are belonging from India region. Within India region, we are having two company code, DL01 and MU01. Within DL01, there are some other purchasing organization. Now, let's say you are belonging from India, DL01, purchasing organization DPO01. Now, if you are belonging from this particular hierarchy over there, so your approver should also belong from the same hierarchy. Now, if you say that Manoj, I will use standard roles over here. The standard roles can be assigned to any user who can be based out of Delhi or Mumbai or not even India also. So then what will happen? I am creating this particular PR based on that particular hierarchy. India, DL01, then DPO01 based on that. So I am thinking my approval will be from also that particular same branch. But it is happening somebody from the US country, company code US01, and uh, purchasing organization USDP01. From that particular hierarchy, that guy is approving. Why? Because standard rules cannot be controlled with the respect to regions, purchasing organization, purchasing group, company code. So always keep this thing in your mind. This kind of thing probably is not required in upstream. Why? Because in upstream, this kind of complex groupings we will never do. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. What next? The next is over here, that you will see that each level will have condition until unless you are going anywhere else. Okay, so let us try to configure that particular workflow approval. And remember, whatever we are doing over here, some of you might ask that, Manoj, what you are doing, this is for equation. What will happen for the, you know, GR approval workflow? What will happen for the invoice approval workflow? So remember one thing, guys, the groups will only change. Okay, the logic will change. Okay, if there is certain price limit over here, approval should be custom group one. But in invoice, if the price limit is another different thing, then what will happen? Approver will be another custom group. That's the thing. But the way of doing the configuration over here across all the transactional document is same. Okay. Now, generally, the first thing which we will do over here is price based approval. Okay. But that is called as a mandatory approval. But there are certain optional approval. Optional approval means like I will give you an what you can say. I will give you an overview over there. That let's say Araj has asked me that Manoj, very good, you are creating this approval workflow, very good. But I am going to US just for 3-4 days. But meanwhile, I need you to create a PR on behalf of me. This particular feature you will see when we will go to the P2P part, guys. So there, if you go inside that particular process, what you will think, what you will do over there. Correct, you are going to use the shop on behalf of functionality. But remember, in Ariba, the shop on behalf of functionality, guys, it means that I am creating the PR, but the requester or basically the owner of the PR is Araj. So in this particular scenario, your client will ask that this is this particular feature we will need. Our end user will need this thing. So whenever somebody is using the shop on behalf of functionality over here, correct? Remember, requester has to approve it. That means in this case, Eraj is asking me, Eraj will become the requester when I will use the shop on behalf of functionality. I will just be a preparer of the PR. Okay, that means the owner is Eraj, even though I am creating the PR. And your client will say, okay, very good. Now Eraj has called you through phone, but how come the system or audit team believe you that yes, Eraj has only called you? Now that particular thing is not always possible, guys. So what we will do is like we will make sure that we will take Eraj's approval. Why? Because if Eraj has really asked me by calling me that, oh Manoj, we are going to make sure that you are creating the PR on behalf of me, then if the approval go to Eraj will approve it. Because if he has told me to do this thing, he will not have any issue in approving that particular request. But if he has not told me, then he will say, hey, I am not told Manoj to do this thing. So what I will do? Plain and simple, I will reject. So always remember the first optional approval generally we always do over here in our project is shop on behalf of functionality. So we will say approval level 1. Array, just a moment. Okay, guys, approval level 1. Now, in the rule description, I will always use a certain methodology and I will encourage all of you guys to use a certain methodology. Why? Because remember, you are not the only person who is working in the project. You will be working with, another 3-4 Ariba consultant. So they should understand what all, you are doing. So here you will say who is the approver. Excuse me. Requester. Very good. Then always remember whether condition is present or not. So condition present over here. Why? Because the condition I will check over there is like if preparer is not equal to requester. Why? Because in general scenario, if I am creating the PR, I am the preparer and I am the requester, both by default. But if Eraj has asked me, Manoj, you create the PR, correct? You create the PR and you make me requester rather than yourself. In that case, preparer and requester will be different. So always remember, guys, when you will be using the shop on behalf of functionalities over there, it's plain and simple. Requester will not be equal to preparer. Okay. So once you're at a condition level, what you will do, you will go over here, click on field match. Okay. So guys, first of all, before going to the field match, I will ask all of you, have we seen this thing before? Right now, what we are doing? Okay. So basically, correct. Yes, we have seen this thing, these conditions, guys. Where? In our template configuration. Yes, very correct, guys. Very correct. Okay. So remember the same concept, we will use it over here, nothing else. Okay. Now, when I will click on this select field, okay. So basically what you will see over here, guys, in the previous sessions when we were doing all this configuration, what we used to see over there. So in that particular session, guys, when we have seen that sourcing project contract workspace template configuration, so there we always used to, when we click on field match, we used to select all the fields, with respect to the sourcing project or contract workspace, that what are the fields which are stored in database. That particular thing we will see. So here obviously we cannot see sourcing project or contract workspace, but here we will see the fields for requisition, purchase requisition or PR. Which fields? The fields which is generally used for saving the data in the database table regarding the PR. Okay, put simply, this is the meaning of this thing and nothing else. Okay, then what I will do, I will go down a below and see here I will get the requester. What I will do, I will select requester. Of course is not equal to, we have to choose. Okay, we have choose the operator. Now always remember, guys, that you have two option over here, either select value or select field. Generally in our previous configuration in sourcing project and contract workspace over there, we have generally used the value. Why? Because on the left hand side we had a field and on the right hand side we are having what? Some value. But here our what you can say requirement is not to compare the field against a value, but a field against another field. Why? Because both who is the requester and who is the preparer, we cannot know in the template. Why? Because both these particular fields will be coming from your PR, purchase equation. Okay, keep this thing in your mind. So select field. So once you will select the field over here, you have to scroll down, and here we have to select preparer, and we will select the preparer over here. Excuse me guys. So requester is not equal to preparer, plain and simple thing. So this was our logic, right? So when requester is not equal to preparer, in that sense only all of us will know that shop on behalf functionality is being used. Guys, am I audible properly? Yeah. Usha, I think if you're not able to hear me properly, I think you need to reconnect to your GoToTraining app once more, because the rest of the participants are saying that they are able to hear me properly over there. Just ask all of them. Yeah, yeah. So sometimes also what happens is like, guys, please don't use the mobile networks over there or hotspot, because we have done that thing before. Okay, that did had a disastrous consequences. Why? Because we know over there. Okay, why is it so? Because I will tell you, uh, this actually speed which is happening over there, it is almost real time. Okay, so what will happen is like the mobile internet speed will sometimes be good, then you would be able to properly follow each and everything, and in certain scenarios it will go down very low. So at that point of time, what will happen, all the lags and all those particular things will start happening over there, guys. Okay, yeah. So try to use a broadband or high speed connection over there. In this way it will be working properly. Now there also error might happen, but those things are rare, once in a month or twice in a month, or maybe sometimes you know s- w- once in 2 3 months also it can occur, but that is very rare. Why one more select is showing? No, actually, see, select is, see, always remember, guys, whenever you want to select a field or select a value, that will always be there. So on the left hand side, you are selecting one field. So the first select is for selecting the left hand side field, and then the select over here is basically for selecting the right hand side field. Whatever, see, whenever we are talking about expression, x is equal to 1, equal to is the operator, x and 1 is operand over there, right? So basically you are having two operands. So whenever you are having any condition, that means there will be two operands. You have to select that operands, right? So that is why the two select is over there. Okay. So the first select what we did was for requester. The second select which we used was for preparer, nothing else. Now, as all of you can see, group is present over there. You will use group, correct? It will work very fine. Now, my question to all of you, can you identify a requester with the help of a group? Yes, you can do it, guys. You can do it. Why? In a pretty simple way, you can do it. And what's that particular thing? And that particular thing is, excuse me, guys. We will see that particular thing later on. But always remember, purchasing user is the role which is generally given to all the requester. Yes, that we can do. So this kind of question sometimes will get asked. Okay. So be ready for that. Yes, you can understand only in case of requester, who is a requester, by just having a look at the PR. Sorry, not PR. Basically, the purchasing user role. If somebody is having that role, that means that particular guy is a requester. Now, my another question. In the template configuration, basically I can choose the group. If I choose the purchasing user group over here, what will happen, guys? Let's say I will go into the Ariba system. I will, edit the PR, or basically I will create a PR and I will order it. Then this approval workflow will get triggered. What will happen if I give the role purchasing user over here as the approver? Yes, correct. Now that is a very good important understanding. Why? Because system is asking me that Manoj, you are creating the PR on behalf of Araj, correct? So Araj should approve it. That is why I said requester is the approver. Now, if I give the role purchasing user, Iraj is also having purchasing user role. I am also having purchasing user role. And if I make the approver as purchasing user, that means I will create this PR on behalf of Iraj and I will approve it. What will happen? This will defeat the whole purpose of your approval workflow configuration. Correct? So basically, we need to determine the requester of that particular PR automatically. That means dynamically. That means in this case, system should pick Iraj as the approver, not me. Now that kind of requirement you cannot do it in template. Why? Because these are peer specific data. If you are going to use on behalf of, in that case, what will happen? Iraj is the approver, not Manoj. So this particular thing is peer specific data. So you cannot see it and use it over here, guys. There are a lot of differences. Okay, keep this thing in your mind, guys. Now the next thing is, you don't need to do all those particular stuff, guys. Previously to 2015, these things we used to always work with the enhancement request. Now we don't have to work with enhancement request. What we have to do over here, plain and simple thing. Go to this action tab. I will click on this option and you can add the requester over here. Now, what does this particular option does? Add the requester as an approver. That means automatically here system will pick, okay, Eraj is the requester. So in this case, Eraj will become the approver. Now, in the case where I am not creating the PR on behalf of Eraj, who is the requester, guys? Correct, correct, guys. The requester is myself only. I am the requester. So in that case, automatically system will show that Manoj is the requester and Manoj will approve it. But remember, guys, one more thing. See, we have given a condition for this level. That means this particular level, will it get triggered or not? Depends upon this particular condition. Plain and simple. Okay. Now, why? Because requester is not a preparer. When you are using the shop on behalf of functionality, then only the condition will get satisfied and this approval level 1 will get triggered. That means if you are not using the shop on behalf of functionalities, approval level 1 will not get triggered. Okay, so keep those things in your mind, guys. Now previously these things were not available, but right now we are having this particular thing. And if then you will see there is one option, another option over here, approval required. And what's that particular thing, guys? Approval required is equal to yes or no. So if you don't click on this thing, see, you can see the checkbox, it is already checked. If you cannot check this thing, what will happen, guys? No, no. See, guys, it does not mean that the approval required, if you don't click on this thing, okay, approval will not be triggered. See, approval will not be triggered when this particular condition which we have given, requester is not equal to preparer. If this is not met, then only it will not be triggered. The approval required checkbox basically make us understand that whether the requester over here will become a watcher or a approver. I think approver, all of you will know, will approve it. Watcher will do what? Basically, watcher will see the approval workflow. They cannot edit anything. Plain and simple. They cannot edit anything. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind. If you're doing this whole configuration, you forgot to, check this, or tick this checkbox. What will happen? Your approver will become the watcher, and that guy cannot approve it. All hell will break loose. So keep this thing in your mind, guys. Okay. No, guys, I'm talking about if you don't check this, or tick this checkbox over here, this requester over here will become a watcher. At this particular level, level 1, even if it is getting triggered, okay, even the level 1 is getting triggered, this, in this case, Eraj will become only the watcher. Eraj cannot approve it at level 1. So that is what I'm saying, that here whenever you are doing this configuration, please don't forget to check this checkbox. Sometimes it might be, that, mistakenly you have removed it. Please don't remove it. Okay. So be careful on this part, guys. Now, this was the first configuration which we are talking about over here. What's the second configuration? How we will add a second configuration? See, we will add the second configuration like this: add serial rule. Okay. See, see, on behalf of functionality is a standard functionality, guys. Okay. And second thing is like, see, these functionalities are standard on behalf of, okay, not on behalf of. These are all standard functionality. Now, what is your client requirement is like, if somebody is saying, as I said, Eraj has called me and told that Manoj, you create a PR on behalf of me. Now, what happens is like system somewhere should keep a audit that yes, Eraj has really called Manoj and asked it. So that is why we will need Eraj's approval over here. Okay. So this level will only get triggered when shop on behalf functionality has been used. Now, when it will not be used over there, then from the next level, your approval will begin. So that is what I meant to say over here, guys, that in upstream, we were seeing the approval workflow will always get triggered. But in downstream, it's totally up to you. That means how you're configuring these particular levels, whether you want the level to appear every time in the PR or not. That's the thing. Okay. So the next thing, specifically, we are going to do the price level approval. Now, price level approval, it does not matter whether it's a shop on behalf of or not on shop behalf of. Why? Because depending upon that particular price limit, what will happen is like your price limit approvers will always get selected over here. Now, here also you will have conditions, plain and simple. Okay. And here we will say approval level 1. And here we will say approver is purchasing user. Similarly, condition present. Excuse me, guys. What I will do, I will click on field match once again. Once again, click on select field. Come down below, guys. Now, what I will do is like, see, this particular figure is there, total cost dot amount. Okay. So we'll select this amount, total cost dot amount. Okay. Once we click on regression dot total cost dot amount, what will happen is what is the cost of PR, that particular thing will automatically come into this particular field. So what I will do over here, basically I have to give a range. Now let's say I want to give a range of 50 to 10,000. That is your first limit. That means your client is saying between 50 to 10,000 purchasing user should be the approver. Next level can be 10,001 to 100,000. For that we are having a different approvers. So always remember the range which we are talking about over here. For each range, you have to design one level. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind over here, guys. Okay. So this was the first range which we have designed over here, guys. And here we have to select a value, not a field. But here, guys, see one issue which you will notice is there is no in between operator. Are you able to see in between operator or range operator over here? Correct. Very correct, guys. You're not able to see this thing because it does not exist. Now, what we can do over here? Correct. Correct, guys. So basically, we have to select greater than equal to or less than equal to over there. Okay. So in that case, what we will do is greater than or equal to. Here we will select value 100. Okay. And the second case, what we will do, again, we will take a field match. Click on field. Okay. Then come down below. Okay. Once again, what we will do, you will say total cost dot amount. Okay. And in this case, is less than or equal to, and you will select the value as 10,000. That means a simple range over here, guys. For that particular range, since is between operator is not present, what we have to do? We have to give two condition. Now, sometimes what will happen is like, guys, your client can ask that, Manoj, we need multiple condition. Price is there, company code is there. Okay. Based upon these two things, okay, I want to give my approver. And all of you will say, very good, it's not an issue. Then I will say to you guys, see, if your client gives you multiple data range over here, that means here we have given a single range. If your client is asking for multiple data range in this particular level conditions, How you will do it? So you will say, Manoj, same thing, I will do it over here. It's not a big issue. Then I will say to all of you guys, please don't think it like this. It's not a big issue. Why is it so? Because for condition you have to add for two ranges. Then for company code you have to do another combination. Okay. And sometimes in big projects, some other field must be given. Purchasing organization, purchasing group. Excuse me, guys. What will happen over there, guys? All hell will break loose. Why is it so? Why is it so? Why all hell will break loose? Because you are making the condition so complex that you are also not sure that when this particular level will get triggered and when it will not be. And basically, guys, that is the worst scenario which can happen over there. So then you will say, Manoj, then how to tackle this thing? How to make sure that instead of these two condition, I am using only one condition. So that particular thing I'm going to show in what? In our next level. But here, let us add the purchasing user. Why? Because purchasing user over here is the approver. Done. Now, now let's say your client is coming to you and saying, Manoj, level 1 and level 2 should be in serial. Level 3 and level 4 should be in parallel with each other. All of you will be thinking, hey, Manoj, we have only seen either serial or parallel, right? A combination of serial and parallel, can we do it? The answer is yes, you can do it, guys. So instead of the last inverted triangle, go to the first inverted triangle. Okay, click on add parallel rule. Okay, and now you can see approval, sorry, level 3. Condition present. Now, if I ask any of you guys, what is the approval type over here, guys? What would be your answer? Okay, Basically I am saying what kind of approval flow over here, guys, it represent this particular configuration which you have done, serial or parallel. Okay, so, most of you are saying parallel. Okay, some, but some of you are saying parallel after level 2. No, no, I'm not asking about level 1, level 2, guys. I'm asking about the full approval workflow over here. What kind of approval type is it? Correct. Okay, I actually got the answer over here. It's saying mix. Okay. Okay, yeah, actually I could understand your intention, guys, and the intention is correct. Mix basically means what? Custom. Custom means a combination of serial flow as well as parallel flow. So you can see approval level 1 and level 2 is on serial, level 3 and level 4 is at what level? Level 3 and level 4 are in parallel. So custom means a combination of serial and parallel. So that is why, guys, in our upstream exposure, I told all of you that, remember, guys, in upstream, both the approval workflow over here are either serial or parallel. But in downstream, you will see it is totally custom. Why? Because it will be a combination of both serial and parallel. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind, guys, and nothing else. Okay. Now, now, once you have done this thing in level 3, I was also talking about not using greater than equal to or less than equal to. So is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But for that particular thing, guys, remember, you have to select a different field. And what's that particular field? You cannot choose over here total cost dot amount. You have to choose the field total cost over here. See the first field. Now choose total cost. Okay. And here, if you click this option, you will see is between is coming. Select is between. And here I will give the value as 10,000, 1 to 100,000. Okay. So always remember, guys, that in most of the scenario, rather than using the total cost dot amount, use the field total cost. Now some of you will say, Manoj, why is between is not appearing in total cost dot amount and why it is appearing in total cost? Because of simple thing, guys. Ariba controls which operator is coming for which fields based on the data type. Okay, and this particular information you're not going to find in any standard books until unless you have not done R&D in your project. You will not understand this thing, guys. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. Okay. Now, in this particular thing, what I will give is like I will give the role as purchasing agent. Done. Our level 3 configuration is done. Very good. So you will be saying, Manoj, very good, done. So why you have given the approval level 4, and the approval level 4 you have written approval is dynamic. What does this particular thing means? Now I will tell you guys. Your client is coming to you and they are saying, Manoj, if India region is there, okay, and company code is DL01 and purchasing organization is PDL01, then what will happen? Approver is this particular custom group. Now, if within India region, company code DL01, there is another purchasing organization. That particular purchasing organization is there. The second custom group is the approver. Like this kind of combination, if you're getting, which is quite common. And remember, you cannot use standard groups over here. You have to use custom groups over there. So, in that particular sense, if you are seeing value like this, what will happen? So, you cannot use a normal group to give the approver. Why? Because in the normal group, you can see, guys, over here, I can add only one group. And here, what is happening? Multiple conditions are there. Based on the multiple condition, multiple groups have to be given. Now, if you're saying, okay, Manoj, it's pretty easy. You can create n number of levels. Then I will say, guys, for a big project, if they are giving you 100 combination and 100 combination means that means what you are going to do 100 workflow approvals. If you do 100 approval workflow, what will happen? 100 approval workflow levels, all hell will break loose. Your system performance will go up in the air. And literally, I have seen many Ariba consultant, they are just coming up in the front and they are saying, hey, guys, the issue over here is, what's the issue? The issue over here is plain and simple that this particular dynamic approval has to be implemented in your project. Now, once you try to implement this particular thing in your project, what you have to do is like you need a dynamic flow. Dynamic flow means, okay, if this condition is satisfied, then that particular approver will be selected. Means like that particular custom group will be selected as the approver. Similarly, the other condition is satisfied, the other custom group will be selected as the approver. This kind of logic you want. So that particular thing also can be done in downstream through the help of approval lookup table. And that particular approval is generally called as dynamic approval. So we are going to take a short break, guys. After the break, we are going to show you the dynamic approval over here. Remember, this is one of the most complex thing. And if you ask any Ariba consultant, they are really going to jump up and say, this is an enhancement request. It's an enhancement request. It is not possible in Ariba without coding. Guys, and I will show you without coding only how you can do this thing. Okay. And remember, not only the standard CSV file you're going to use over there, but basically you also have to use your custom logic because client will give you the custom parameters, right? Which fields are there? Client will say, I don't require the standard fields. I will tell you the exact field based upon which and the exact logic based upon which you have to pick up the approver. And that particular thing will be different. So you have to also do customization over here. Okay, so I will show all of you guys without any coding how you can do this particular stuff within Ariba only. Okay guys, so let's take a break over here. Okay, after the break we are going to continue with this dynamic approval workflow configuration. Yeah, thank you guys, let's take a break. Guys, am I audible to all of you? Can you please confirm, guys? Yeah, yeah. Thanks for your confirmation, guys. Yeah, you know how the weather will be there in Delhi, right? The cold and cough. I think this has become a standard thing in Delhi winter right now. Yeah, just a moment. Yeah. So we were talking about dynamic approval over here. So dynamic approval process means the single group will not be present over here. We will have multiple groups based on what? Based on some certain conditions. So we cannot use these normal add approvers and groups over here. Why? Because it will only let us have only one group present over there. So what we will do, we will click on use approver lookup table. This particular thing we will always use. Okay. So the first thing which we have to do over here while we come to this particular screen is this one. Select your approval lookup table. Once you're coming over here, the first thing which you have to do over here is choose any of this particular commodity code, any of this particular CSV. Now let's say I want to choose this particular field. Now automatically when I have choose this particular CSV file, okay, you can see the in the table below. See there are different conditions over here which are present. Correct. The first thing which I want to mention to all of you is when you will go into a project. See here, people has done a lot of customization. So each of this particular CSV file which you are seeing, basically these are customized CSV file. Okay, but when you will go to a project, at that point of time when you will begin the configuration over here, you will get only standard CSV files. Now standard CSV files are great for giving you an idea or basically a guided tour. Okay, basic guided tour they can give. But if you want to explore each and everything up to the full potential, then you should always think that the specific CSV files which has been given, that is the base thing, but that is not the final thing. First thing first. So generally in that particular thing, let me just download this particular thing first. Just click on the CSV file and this will get downloaded over here. Now give me a moment, I'm just increasing the font so that all of you are able to see this particular thing properly. So basically you will ask me that, Manoj, how will a standard CSV look like? And a standard CSV will look like this, guys. Like this. Commodity, group, tooltip, and required. I think all of you will understand what is required over here. Required is equal to yes, that means this is an approver. If you are giving no or nothing over here, what will happen? That particular approver will become a watcher. Okay, tooltip is nothing but your description of, you know, for every approver, that what kind of approver they are. We will just write first dynamic approver, second dynamic approver, whatever the things which we want to write we can write over there. And commodity and group, I think all of you can understand that based on the commodity code we are giving different groups, and this is the place where you will give mostly custom groups over here, guys. But remember, as a prerequisite, you have to do two tasks. The first task is create a custom group over there, assign those custom groups to whom? To the different users. Okay, Once that has been done, then you can come over here and it will work. But if you have not done, or basically not created the custom group, not assigned the custom groups to the buyer, you will give the group over there, immediately system will throw up an error. Group does not exist. Okay, so keep these two prerequisite in your mind, guys. Now the next thing which I'm going to talk about is basically what? Excuse me. Is basically your client will come to you and they will say, Manoj, see, commodity code wise approving approver you're giving, good, but that is not my business logic. My business logic is based on the price, based on the country, based on some other fields, along with commodity code, I will use for determining my approver. Now all of you will say, okay, Manoj, what? Do Control Z. Just like the field which we have added over there, we will add country and all those particular thing, country, company code, total cost, and then we will give the value. Done, our work is done. Then I will say to you two issues, guys. First issue, let us discuss about it. But before the discussion, can any of you guys tell me that even if you customize this particular CSV file, what would be the biggest issue which you will face over here? That means, let's say you have customized, you have added different other fields in the CSV file and you have saved the CSV file. Do you think the level 4 approval, when it will get triggered, it will use those those extra fields and their value which you have given over here, guys? Correct. Correct. No, system will not take those things into the factor. Any guess why, guys? Now, guys, see, you have done the changes in the Excel CSV file, but here it has not changed. So basically, you have to upload the Excel file. Very good. Now, if I say to all of you that, guys, even after you've uploaded, it will not work properly. So all of you will be scratching your head. Hey, Manoj, we have uploaded the proper data, proper fields from the CSV file into the system. Now, why you are saying it will not work properly? Because remember, when you are submitting the PR, what will happen? Your whole approval workflow will get triggered. And in this level, what will happen? This table will be compiled at the runtime. Once it is compiled, once it is compiled, all of you should be a little bit wary about this thing. And what's that? Because immediately, let's say you have given the field country, immediately your system will ask, boss, country, okay, very good, you have given it over here, but what is the technical name of the field in Ariba database? So the technical name for country in the Ariba database is ship to dot country. Immediately Ariba will throw up an error. Hey, what do you mean by country? Where's the mapping? Similarly, company code. That mapping of company code field from here to there has to be done. Total cost also have to be done. So that means any field, which you are adding in this particular CSV file has to be mapped with the technical name of the fields which are present within the Ariba database. Because ultimately at the end of the day, those fields value will be, you know, faced by the Ariba system from the PR, right? From where? From the database only. Then only it can match it. So first of all, there is a field mapping has to occur properly. Once the field mapping occurs, then only what will happen? Oh, country means basically you're talking ship to country. So what I will do, I will go to the PR. Within the PR's data in database, I will go to the field ship to dot country, pick up the value, and then I will check the country which you have given over here, that is US, whether the value is mapping on, matching or not. If it is matching, well and good, condition is satisfied. If it is not matching, condition is not satisfied. So this is the major task over there. So always remember, your client will ask, give you different fields over there, and you have to do this particular stuff. So the first thing which you're going to do is like, you are not going to change anything in the CSV file. You have to go in this particular section, columns to include in CSV file. Okay, guys. Now, how you will do it? Click on add column. Okay. Then I will go to country first. Where is ship to? See, ship to is coming over here. I will expand this thing, and you can see ship to country is coming over here. See, I will select this ship to country. Click on OK. Now, the first thing which you will notice over here is, guys, column header name. Column header name means what? Column header name basically means the field name which you're going to give in CSV. Yes, very correct, guys. Very correct. And then you can see there is another thing which is called as field name. What does this particular thing represent? Correct. Very correct, guys. Technical field name. Basically, the field name which exists in Ariba database. So this mapping has to be present over there. Until and unless this mapping is present, what will happen is like, see, here system will upload this data, no issue. If you will try to upload the CSV with your custom, what you can say, logic, yes, it will do it. But in the runtime, it will throw up and dump. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind. No, 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 no. We cannot use the same column header name twice. We cannot use it, guys. Why? Because there Ariba will get confused. Okay, why you're using these two column name, same column name, both over here? Which one I will take? So there it will throw up an error. So you cannot use the same field twice over here, guys. Okay. And the second thing which you have to do over here is operation. Basically the operator. See, in our CSV field, CSV file, what we will give the values, different values. Okay. So keep this thing in your mind. So what operator you will use, whether is equal to is not equal to, you also have to select over here and make sure guys you are choosing the correct operator. Okay, you're thinking in your mind, I will give a value which is not equal to, and here you have given equal to. What will happen? System will behave oppositely. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. Now next thing is like, what other fields were present? Company code and total cost. Add column. See, company code is present over here. Now here you select company code. It's the same. The technical field name is same and CSV field name is also same. No issues. Is equal to we will use. And then whenever you are taking price, guys, always remember, please never ever choose this total cost dot amount. Why? Because in that scenario, okay, as Vinay was asking over there, that can we use the same field twice? So in that case, what you have to do is like, if you use total cost dot amount, you have to use it twice. And once you are using it twice, what will happen over there is there will be issues, because system will try to understand that total cost dot amount, first field is used for what purpose, the second field, same field, is used for what purpose. So in that case scenario, that is why I showed to all of you earlier, guys, that you have to use the concept of total cost. Why? Because in total cost, what will happen, you can use the is between operator. And once you use the is between operator, you don't have to give that, give that is less than equal to and is greater than equal to. Okay, so basically I demonstrated that difference between total cost and total cost at amount. Why? See, because if you're working in a simple project or normal project in Ariba, there won't be any issue. But if you're working in a big project where dynamic uh, approval will be taken into the picture, so in that scenario there will be issues. Okay, and so what we will do, basically there will be error. So that is why we have to use this total cost concept, so that we can use the is between operator, plain and simple, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, now if we go to the all this particular value, see in the total cost, see we have given two value, 1 comma 500, and just after the comma there is a space. Why? Because Ariba will immediately recognize over here that this total cost over here is a is between operator. That means for the first condition, for the first uh, column, sorry, first row of data over here, the total cost value must be between 1 to 500. Similarly, for the second row of data, it should be 501 to 10,000. Now, whatever value as per the client's requirement you are giving over here, it will make sense. And if you upload the same also, it will make sense. Okay, so this is how you have to customize the CSV file. And remember, customization is mandatory. Why? Because every business, every client will have their own requirement. And once they're having their own requirement, they will tell you that these are the different fields, these are the values which you should be taking. Okay. Now you will also see that there is an option for adding a user. Okay. Now what I will do, I will also add a user over here. Just a moment. Now some of you will say, Manoj, I think when you begin the session over there in our demo overview session as well as in normal sessions also, I always told all of you that in Ariba, approval, remember, approval will always depend upon your custom group. Plain and simple. So why I am saying that here you have to use user, because every time I said approval workflow in Ariba will based upon the groups. Any guess, guys? Why we did not come across this particular situation in upstream? Similarly, in downstream approval workflow, we did not came across this situation in static approval flow. In static approval flow, Ariba was not giving us any option to accept user. It was only giving us option to add groups. But in dynamic approval workflow, see, Ariba is giving an option that you can add user. Why is it so? You cannot say Ariba is a fool, because Ariba is having quite very good understanding compared to what you can say, compared to SAP. No, guys, remember, in downstream there is an option for cross organization buying, right? But cross organization buyer is not huge. Let's say there are 1500 buyers or 2000 buyers in your whole, what you can say, whole of Ariba, correct? But in our scenario or in our situation, our base logic over here is pretty simple, that only a group of only a group of users will be able to do cross organization buyer. And here you cannot use roles to define which user is a cross organization buyer, correct? Because see, in your in your configuration over here, the client has told this is the company code, this is the purchasing organization, this is the purchasing group, then this is the custom group for approval. Now you will see, as we gave that option, India DL01 company code and MU01 company code, and then two more purchasing organization. Now we will find excuse me guys, now we will find that in certain scenarios that some users will be having authorization for buying for DL01 as well as MU01. Certain users will have access to both the purchasing organization as well as purchasing group for Delhi DL01. So in that scenario, what is happening? Your approval process will get, you know, displayed wrongly. Why? Because I am having access for DL01 and MU01. So who should be my approver? So to resolve that particular thing, we have came up with the cross organization buying. So in that scenario, what will happen? Client will say to you that if the combination over here, let's say company code is 2000. So we will know that exactly this guy is a cross organization buyer. So what will happen? We will give a user as the approver. Let's say TN part 2. Now immediately you will understand, okay, the approval will work properly. So always remember, in your downstream, okay, in static approval there is no issue, but in dynamic approval your client can come and ask that cross organization bias should also be should also be included in the approval process. Okay, and the second thing is they has to approve as a part of user, not as a part of custom groups. So in that scenario you will use this concept of user, guys. Plain and simple. In any other scenario you will never use the concept of user. Okay, so that is why Ariba has given us the option for using the user parameter over here. Simple thing, nothing more, nothing less. Now once you have done all these particular changes, what we are going to do is like we are going to save this thing. Yes, we are going to use this format, close it, and then click on upload file. Choose file. Click on done. Okay, overwrite. Again choose the file. Done. Overwrite. Now you will see the all the configuration which we did over there is updated in the table. Now your dynamic approval workflow configuration is complete. Until and unless you do all this particular step, your work is not complete. Keep this thing in your mind. Because sometimes what will happen is like, it also happened with me. Once I understood this dynamic approval workflow, I think it was my third project. I was so amazed by the these options. So what happened was like I did all the activity apart from at the end uploading the file. Then what happened? All hell, broke loose. See, again, guys, see, I'm just showing you one option over here. Just a moment. Just showing you one option. Just a moment. See, it is not mandatory for me that if I'm taking the approval from TN part 2, that means from the user, I need to give value to all the parameters. Okay. See, company code, country, total cost, commodity code, these are present over there. Okay. But it depends upon each individual requirement. In certain scenario, client will say, okay, if commodity code and purchasing organization is getting added, well and good, there is no issue. But in certain scenarios, they are saying only company code. Based upon that, the approval will be there. So that also you can do. So what you can do is like you can overlook the other fields. It's not mandatory that you have to give value for all the fields in each row. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. It totally depends upon the client's requirement. Okay, now once you have done this thing, please don't think that your uh, you know approval configuration is done. There are few things which all of you should know. The second thing is like the filter rules. Now what is filter rules, guys? So some of you will see that, let's say I am present in level 1, level 2 and level 3. When the approval will get triggered, guys, how many times I have to approve so that level 1, level 2, level 3 should get approved? Any guess? Correct, correct. 3 times. See, standard Ariba. See, once you show this thing, what will happen is like standard Ariba means in how many levels you are present, you have to give that many number of approval. But then your client will come running towards you and they will say that, hey, Manoj, you are present in all the 3 levels. So once you're approving it, okay, automatically the 3 levels should get approved. Why? Because that is a wastage of my approver's time. So if that is the requirement of your client, what you have to do, you have to click on create new, and here you will say duplicate approval removal. Same thing in the rule description you will write. Make sure that the enabled over here is yes. Okay. And then see there is 3 option. Remove duplicate, retain first approver, remove duplicate, retain last approver, remove duplicates, retain last approver or watcher. Okay, you can select any of these three. Any of these three. It does not matter whatever you are choosing over here, guys. Yeah. So guys, this is how you will use this duplicate approval removal. Duplicate approval removal means basically what? That means you have to approve 3 times. That means it's a duplicate thing. Okay. So once you set up this thing, what will happen in that scenario? Once I approve it, all the 3 levels will get approved simultaneously. Okay. So filter rules is used for this particular concept only. So remember about this thing. Next concept is approvable edit rule. Now this is a important stuff. Why? Because first time when you're creating the PR, the approval flow which you have designed, it will work. But what will happen for version 2, version 3, version 4 approval? Now, as I told all of you earlier, guys, that in upstream side you have to select the document draft yes or no option. Okay, but here we don't have to use any of this particular concept. So here you will get much more flexibility. But out of this four option which I have shown right now, two option you will not use. That is edit not allowed or edit without effects. Edit not allowed means what will happen? You cannot create a next version of PR, which will which your client will not allow. And the last option is edit without effects. That means in after the version one, any version or basically any time we are re-editing the PR, there will be no approval required. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind. Now there is two option: edit requires reapproval or edit with resubmit. Now these are the two options which we generally use. Now when you're working with service based client, okay, they will say to most of you all the time that Manoj, let's reuse our approval flow. Reusing their approval flow means what? See, four levels of approval has got triggered over there. Okay, two approver has approved it. Level three and level four approval is pending. At that point of time, you're going to the PR, editing it and resubmitting it. So what will happen? Ariba will not re-trigger a new workflow. Ariba will do what? They will update that for level 3 and level 4 approval is still required, but instead of approving on version 1, they will approve on version 2. Once level 3 and level 4 approval has been done, what will happen? Your second version of the PR will also get approved. Certain exceptional scenario is there. That means all the four level has been approved. In that scenario, if you're editing the PR and you have chose this option, edit requires reapprovals, okay, then what will happen? A new approval workflow will get generated at that time. But most of the time, if it is done while the approval for the previous version is still pending, what will happen? Ariba will use that particular approval. It will check whether the approval has been fully completed or not. Okay, guys. So keep this thing in your mind. Now the next thing is edit with resubmit. Edit with resubmit means what? So this is basically what we will use for manufacturing clients, production clients. They will say to all of you that it does not matter whether the approval has been completed or it is still in pending status. Basically, it means that every time you are re-editing the PR, a new approval workflow will be triggered. System is not going to check whether the approval of the previous version has been completed or not. Basically for the production and manufacturing client, you are going to use this particular thing. Or sometimes what will happen is like even service client will be very strict. So in that scenario, you have to do this particular stuff, nothing else. Okay, so keep this thing in your mind, guys. Okay, now once this particular stuff has been done, what next? Then your workflow approval configuration has been totally completed. But remember, this is for PR. In the same way, you will do it for invoice, invoice reconciliation, GR, like this. Only thing is like the logic will change, the approver will change, but the way of doing this configuration is same, guys. Nothing else. Okay. So any question if you're having on this particular session, guys, you can raise your hand. Yeah, Vinay, can you please go ahead with your query?
Hey, hi. Yeah, good morning, Manoj. My first question is about the shop on behalf functionality. So
Yeah.
here we have three entities. One is the PR creator and the
Mhm.
PR requester and PR approver.
No, 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 no. See, remember, PR creator means basically it's the PR preparer who is preparing the PR. Okay. So in general
Okay.
scenario,
Uh-huh.
whenever I am preparing the PR, by default, I
Uh-huh.
am the requester as well as the preparer. But in certain
Okay.
scenario, what will happen is like Eraj will say, hey, Manoj, you create the PR, you be the
Mm-hmm.
preparer, but you
Mm-hmm.
make me as the requester. That means in that scenario, what I will do, there will be a shop on behalf functionalities over there.
Mm-hmm.
There, what will happen, my ID will come. So I will remove that particular ID by default which is coming, and I will put Eraj ID over there. So what will happen, Eraj will become the requester, I am the preparer.
Uh, okay, so you are the preparer in that case, and Airaj is the requester, and he will be
Exactly.
the approver. He will be the approver. So here
Exactly
the
correct.
so the requester and the approver will be the same person, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, but this is not required for every level. Only when
Okay,
shop on behalf is used.
okay. And in the other case, if it's shop on behalf is not used, in that case, the PR preparer and PR requester are one and the same, correct?
Exactly. Yes. And so what
Oh,
will happen? The level one will not get triggered. Why? Because see, we have put a condition over there.
correct,
If
correct.
requested is not equal to preparer.
Okay, okay. My second question was, so all of these entities, I mean the PR,
Mhm.
preparer, the requester, and approver, if they are different, I mean, will
Mm.
they will be having the purchasing user group, correct?
Yes, purchasing basically, see, remember, purchasing user group will be present over there, but only for the requester or preparer, because both of them are same over there. But for the approver, they will
Uh-huh.
not have the purchasing user role.
Okay,
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 so they will have different roles like purchasing agent, okay, purchasing manager, commodity manager kind of thing. So they will only approve it.
okay. So the purchasing preparer and requester will only have the purchasing user role. Okay,
Exactly.
okay, okay. So yeah, those were only my questions. That's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome, Vinay. Yes, definitely, Usha. So what will happen is like approver will get automatic email notification saying that for this particular PR you have the approver and your approval is pending, and you don't have to maintain anything like SOST configuration and all those things. Similarly, remember, when we are going to create the buyers, at that point of time we have to take their official email ID, and at that point of time when you're creating the buyer, official email ID is a mandatory parameter and it will be present over there. So whether it's a requester, whether it's a preparer, whether it's an approver, every buyer is going to have an email ID over there, and automatically this email will be triggered if you're present within the approval list. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anirudh, can you please go ahead with the query?
Yeah, I am Anuj. See, what I want to know is normally, yeah, the
Yeah.
PRs are created by the users who want to get particular material, and
Exactly.
in this case, he's approving. The creator is approving. That is fine. The requester and uh, preparer is the same.
Yeah.
But we are saying at the next levels, the purchasing group people are the approvers. Yeah, could be purchasing agent or purchasing manager or whatever it is.
Hmm.
But
Mhm.
ideally speaking, purchase people don't approve PRs because they should not uh, in terms
No, no,
of
no.
the
I think on this part, Anirudh, I think you are getting a little bit confused looking at the roles over there. See, these are basically these purchasing user which I have given over here, or let's say I have given purchasing agent. These are roles. Okay, so it does not mean that only users from procurement department or purchasing department will have this particular role. So how you are
ideally it
giving
could be
this role?
somebody different. I mean, it could be the
Exactly.
engineering manager or workshop manager or something like stores manager or something
Exactly.
like that. Yeah. So
Exactly.
this
So
is
that
just an
is
example. This is just an
yes,
example, but
exactly,
it could be
exactly. So
ideally it
what
is
I
never the purchasing people who approve the PRs,
exactly.
because they should
So
not be.
yes, so that is why I said at the
That
beginning
is
of
the
the
critical
session.
matrix. That is the critical matrix within the
Yeah,
organization.
yeah.
Like,
So that is why when I begin the session over there, Anirudh, I told actually to all of you that see, I am giving an example with the standard
yeah,
rules. But
yeah,
in your real life scenario, what you need to do is like you need to create different custom groups as per the requirement of the client, and then you need to assign those custom groups to different buyers.
yeah,
Now let's
yeah,
say if you want the approval from engineering department, in let's say you need the approval from finance department over there, so you will be creating
yeah.
different custom groups, and once you have assigned it to the users, then you will give it over here.
Okay, okay, okay. Second, we have said in some cases we have given the value limits at 100 to 10,000, for example.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe this is just a hypothetical question, but
Exactly.
what happens to the value below 100? There may not be, but if there is
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
then what happens? They are simply automatically approved, or something like that, or how is it? I mean, they don't
See,
need an approval.
no, no. See, it depends over there. So basically, in this scenario, if it is less than 100, level 2 will not get triggered over there. Okay, but the
Okay,
other
okay,
level will get triggered. So that is why I said over there that let's say client has given you 10 different price range. It has said 0 to 1000 USD, no approval required.
oh, yeah, yeah.
1001 to 10,000,
Huh.
this guy should approve. Again, 1000, 10,001 to 100,000,
Yeah,
then this approval should do. So what you have to do is like based on this particular groupings, you have to create different levels.
yeah.
Or
So in
basically,
this
what you
case,
can do?
the
Yeah.
approval level one, he's
Mm.
automatically approving it. That's what you mean to say, right?
No,
The creator
approval,
is
approval.
automatically approving.
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. See, approval level one is based on shop on behalf of. Shop on
Okay.
behalf
Fine.
means, as I said,
Yeah.
Iraj is asking me
Yeah. Fine.
to create a peer on behalf. So,
Okay. Okay.
general scenario, if you don't use shop on behalf of, your approval scenario will begin from level two because system
Yeah.
will skip this thing. So here it will check the condition. Now here, if the condition is meeting, very good, it will trigger it. If it is not meeting, then it will go to level three. Level three, at that point of time, it will check the condition and it will trigger it. If it is not meeting, then it will go to level four.
Yeah. But we are at level two, for example. Can we go to
Yeah,
level two?
yeah,
Huh? Two is 100 and up to 10,000.
yeah.
So my question is, what happens to the value below 100, and if it is
Mhm.
not level one is not triggered because the approver, the creator is different. The creator and
Yeah,
requester are the same. The
yeah,
preparer and requester are the same, and the value
yeah,
is below 100. Then what
yeah.
happens?
So in that case, level one and level two will not get triggered.
So there is no approval basically.
Yes. So it has to be
It's
defined like
automatically
that. See,
approved. It's
yeah,
automatically approved.
exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So
Okay,
it
that's
totally
what I want
depends
to know.
upon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So always remember that as per the requirement of the client, you have to give it. Now, if your
Yeah.
client is saying some of the client
Zero
will
to
say
zero to
zero.
10,000. Then it becomes
Ah,
every PR automatically becomes, or it gets triggered for approval. That's what we mean to say.
yeah, 100 to 10,000. If the value is between 100 to 10,000 over there, so what will happen in that scenario? Level two will always get triggered. Now, once it is going above 10,000, what will happen? Level two will not get triggered. In that scenario, level three will get triggered.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. No, above is not a problem. The problem
Yeah,
is when it's below 100, then
yeah,
that's what I wanted to know. What happens in those cases? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And the next question is, can you just elaborate on the cross organization buyer? I mean, when we
Yeah.
have said this,
See,
yeah.
when you are given a specific condition, just like for the in this scenario, okay. So in this scenario, you are taking one company code, one purchasing organization, and then giving some other conditions, and then you are saying, okay, if this condition is met, approver is purchasing manager. Second condition, when it will be met, then the approver is commodity manager. Now, what will happen is like cross organization buying person is there, okay. So you are saying that in certain exceptional scenario, if somebody is creating some other thing, instead of sending it to a group, you have to send it to the cross organization buyer who will approve it over there. So if that is your logic over there, so you cannot use a group. Why? Because you cannot use a group to determine who is the cross organization buyer for which company code. Correct? That has to be given at the purchasing unit level. So that is why Ariba has given this concept of user over here. So whenever you will require that the approval is involving cross organization buying over there, you have to use the concept of user rather than groups.
Means if there are two company codes within the same company in a country,
Mhm.
then if one company code has to buy from the another company code,
No, no, no,
in
no,
that.
not like that, not like that, not like that. See, let's say you are a normal user, you will have a single company code, correct?
Okay, okay,
Assigned to yourself, to your
okay,
profile. But I am
okay.
a cross organization buyer. So what I will have is like I will have multiple company code assigned to my user ID. Now, once I am doing the approval over here, what will happen is like, let's say your manager is Hana and my manager is Iraj.
Mhm.
Even though your company code is 2000, now when I am selecting my PR, I am selecting company code. Instead of 3000, I am selecting 2000. Why? Because I am assigned to that particular thing. So it
Mhm.
should not go to Sana, it should go to Eraj. Why? Because I'm a cross
Okay.
organization buyer. So in that
Oh,
scenario, what will happen is like your standard uh, logic will not work, it will fail. So in that scenario, you have to use this users concept.
okay. When you are buying for 2000, company code 2000, for example,
Exactly.
yeah,
Generally, I will
you
buy
are
for
allowed
3000.
to buy, yeah, you are allowed to buy for both. But if
Yeah,
you buy for 3000, then the normal workflow, and if you buy for 2000, then
yeah,
the user is the
triggered.
approver. Then, yeah,
Exactly.
okay, okay, okay. But that scenario is when, but it could be different country also, right? I mean, it could be different
Exactly,
country as well.
exactly. See, I have only given one concept of company code, correct?
Yeah,
But since in that scenario you can belong from other country, okay.
yeah.
Let's say you are also having authorization for the whole India region as well as US region. Within India region, all the company codes. Within US region, all the company codes. So that many number of combination you have to write over there, and then you have to give
Yeah,
the user as the
yeah.
approval over there.
User as that. Okay. Because you cannot give typically a group as a approver in that case.
Exactly,
Because
exactly.
groups could be purchasing organization specific, so they
Yeah.
could be they could not be valid for the entire activity. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So only when cross organization buyer is involved over there, then only you are going to use user for the approval.
Yeah, yeah, okay. But it's again specific to the client. I mean, yeah, whatever they want to.
Exactly, it depends, but generally cross organization buying you are going to see mostly in every project. Okay, in some project it will
Yeah,
be very simple. It will be very simple. They will say only at company code level it will work, but in certain project they will say no, all the country specific, company code, purchasing organization, purchasing group, plant specific, all these things. So it depends upon the requirement. So if you get a simple thing, then one or two condition is more than enough. But if you're getting a complex thing, so that many number of combination you have to give, and that many number of approval you have to select over there as users.
yeah, okay. And last thing, just regarding the filter rules, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
if we want uh, the PR to go for reapproval again,
Yeah.
following any changes, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, then which option we should select? Like edit requires reapprovals, or edit with
Yeah. Yeah.
resubmit.
That is not filter rule actually. That is approval edit rules. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this scenario, generally you can use either edit requires reapprovals or
Sorry.
edit
Yeah.
with resubmit. Okay, either of these two. Generally, if your client is strict, they are saying it does not matter for every version you need to take the full approval. Then you will take edit with resubmit. But if your client is saying, okay, half of the approval is done or one third of the approval is done, rest of the approval has to approve, okay, based on the new version. So then
Hmm.
you will use edit requires reapprovals.
Means partial approval is done and level 3 or level 4 is still pending, for example.
Yeah.
In that case, it will still go to level 3 and 4 and not to level
Yeah. Level one and two don't
1,
need to
2
approve
again.
it.
It will not go.
L-
Yeah.
Yeah. Level
But
one,
if
level
you
two does not need
select
to approve. Level three
edit
and
with,
level four will approve on version 2, not on
yeah,
version 1.
yeah, yeah. And, and if you select resubmit, then the whole thing starts from level 1. Yeah.
Exactly. That means it's a new workflow for every version.
Yeah. The moment you change it, it again triggers right from the beginning. Yeah.
Beginning. Yeah.
And edit without effects means that's the,
You won't use it. That means for version 1, full approval is there. Version 2, version 3, version 4, there is no approval required.
oh, that's not, so it
Exactly.
doesn't
So that
trigger.
is why
It doesn't
that is
trigger.
why I said, yeah, that means for version 1 only it will trigger. After that it will not trigger. So that is why I
Oh,
said edit not allowed and edit without effects we will never use. Edit not allowed means you cannot create version 2 of PR.
yeah, yeah. That's means you can edit, but it will not go for approval. That's the thing.
Yeah, so that is why the first and the fourth option we will not use. Second and third option we will always use.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
But PRs, when we have, no, this is again
yeah,
applicable to the filter rules also and edit rules also. That
yeah,
if I have a certain PR for a certain purchasing group and
uh,
for a certain company code or purchasing organization at
yeah.
certain value, then it
Okay, okay,
automatically,
okay. I understood. So basically, you are saying, like in certain scenarios, client will say if the price change is within 1000 USD or 500 USD, okay, between the version 1 and version 2, then approval should not be done or it should not be required. That kind of question you are asking, right? That kind of requirement.
no, that's one thing that means you mean to say value changes within certain uh, maybe a tolerance limit. That's what you are saying, right? I mean,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's one thing. What I want to know is
Hmm,
if my value is above 10,000 and then it
hmm.
is some, let's say level 4, approval level 4, for example, yeah,
Yeah,
then directly the level 4 person is approving, yeah.
yeah.
One,
Okay,
two,
okay. So basically, you are saying that
one, two,
even
three,
though,
they need not approve.
yeah,
Directly the
yeah,
4 approve.
exactly. So basically, you are saying no. Approval level 1 is different. It is
That
not
is okay.
depending on the
That's fine.
price. But
Two.
level 2 and level 3, along with level 4, should approve, even if it is having a value of 100,000. So that is particularly a requirement, right? That means the lower
No,
value
should
price
not.
limit.
No, they should not. They should not.
Okay.
Only the level 4 should. This is how it works, or it doesn't work that way.
See, in general, what will happen is like where the price limit will work. See, in the level 2, it is between 0 to 10,000,
Yeah,
100
okay.
to 10,000. And in
That's
level
total
3,
cost. That is
yeah,
total cost.
yeah, total cost over there. Now, let's say if your price is 99,000 USD. So in that
Hmm.
scenario, level 1, level 2 will not get triggered. Level 3 will only get triggered.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So then where
Yeah.
the duplicate approvals come in picture in this case?
Now, no. I said like in this scenario, think like all the 4 level has got triggered. Correct?
Yeah.
Assume that all the 4 levels has got triggered and I am present in every group. Now, since I'm approving, okay, let's say all the other approver has made into vacation. So I am approving. What I have to do is like I have to normally in the standard Hariba, I have to give approval level 1 approval, then level 2 approval I have to do it manually, then level 3, then level 4. So
Okay.
sometimes user will say, why I will give all these 4 levels 4 times separately. I will do the approval one time, and system should make sure that in whichever approval list I am present, that particular level is approved automatically. That is the concept of filter rules.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Maybe a little bit confusion on my side. Uh, the moment you are on level 4, yeah,
Yeah,
the PR, the value is of level 4.
yeah,
Then one, two, three, even if it's you or somebody else, yeah,
yeah,
they need not approve. Directly the level 4,
uh,
whoever it is, has to approve.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So in this
basically,
case, yeah, in Ariba, do you say that all levels have to approve?
no,
Then
no,
it
no, no. No. See, there is a concept over here. See, generally, our client will say to us that most of the time you will work with individual level approvals. That means only when the condition is satisfied that level should get triggered. But
that's fine.
certain
Yeah.
client will say that even if your price is let's say 120,000 USD, so level
Okay.
2, level 3 should not get triggered. But
Yeah.
client will say level 2 or level 3 also has to approve it, then only it should go for level 4.
Oh.
Sometimes client will also give this
Oh.
kind of requirement. So in
Oh.
this case what we have to do is like we have to use this chain this rule concept over there.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so once we use this chain this rule concept, and in that scenario let's say I'm present in level 2, level 3, level 4. So once I'm approving, okay, only level 2 will get approved. Then what I have to do, then once again I
Again,
have to
approve for level 3.
level
Yeah,
3
that's what.
and level 4. So
Oh.
most of the time client will say this is a manual task. Means you have to do this
Yeah.
approval manually 3 times. So
Yeah.
end user will say no, I don't have time for that. So in that case you have to use the filter rule. So whenever you are present in multiple what you can say level over there,
Yeah.
you just have to approve it once. All the level in which you are present will be approved simultaneously.
Okay. And where this config is done, that when the client says that I
Hmm,
need individual approvals for all levels, two,
hmm,
three, 4. So where do
hmm.
we configure this? That all the approvals are required, not directly the level 4, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4. All are required.
here. Action, change this rule. Okay. So when we'll click on change this rule, automatically it will get added over here.
Okay, here we say change the rule, and then
Yeah.
we say that all. Where do we say all have to approve? This is
No, no, no. See here, this is a template, right? Here you will
yeah.
not see how the approval is working. So you have to go at the PR level. In the PR level, you will be able to see that okay, all the approvals over there is getting triggered one after another, even though your price is more than 100,000 USD. So you have to, your approver has to approve it one by one over there. Or you can say if somebody is present in all the groups, that guy approves it, all the level will get approved.
Yeah. Okay. But if they're different ones, they have to individually approve. Yeah. The one, two, three, four, like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So most of the time it will be like like an individual thing that when the condition is met, that level will get triggered. But in certain scenario, client will say, okay, change this rule. That means even though the level 4 should get triggered, still system will ask level 2 and level 3 should get triggered and it should be
Mhm.
approved.
Okay. So all are true when we say in chain, then it
Mhm.
automatically says that every level has to approve. Yeah.
Exactly correct.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, but I will suggest over here, not only for you Anirudh, but for everybody, that try to avoid this chain rule concept. Why? Because of one thing, that it will bring undesired result. Why? Because end user are not very good Ariba users, at least for the first 1 year. Why? Because
Mhm.
they are seeing this interface first time. This particular process, this software will be also we for the first time they are using. So they will get confused over there and they will start questioning the client higher management. So what will happen is like at the end time, okay, just after go live, like after 3 2 3 months, what will happen, there will be huge escalation and then client will come and say that yes, I made a mistake, remove the chain rule concept. So then again reverting back from the chain rule to non-chain rule will be a little bit tough. So whenever your client is saying these are the things which is required, you just have to tell them that, boss, be very careful. Something happens over there. Please don't come us with a escalation. Yes, we will change this thing, but remember that will be like again,
Yeah.
like a lot of changes has to be done over there.
Right, a lot of complexity is there, because it will
Yeah.
go 3 times for each approval. Manually somebody has to do it
Yeah.
at every level, so that's
Exactly. So, and
complex.
especially if you will be using dynamic approval workflow,
Yeah.
there is no going around it. You have to do it. And anyways, any approval workflow in downstream is quite complex. And once they make it more complex by using this chain concept over there, what will happen is like later on they will, their end user will start complaining, and they have to make this chain rule a non-chain rule. Now for them it is a simple thing. They will say just uncheck this thing, but actually it is not unchecking. You have to rebuild it once more.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Thanks, Manoj. Yeah. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Welcome, Anirudh. Okay, guys, so this is how you will do this workflow in downstream. It has got much more feature compared to the upstream part over there, so you can see it over there. So that is why I told all of you that in the beginning, that downstream approval workflow is quite different from upstream. Keep this thing in your mind, guys. Okay, so let us conclude our session for today, guys. Tomorrow we are going to meet at the same time. Okay, and once again, thanks Harsha for conducting this session, and thanks all of you for attending this session, guys. And we will meet once again tomorrow at the same time. Yeah, thank you, guys.